Welcome. I am Hope at Crafty Hope, and I am working on the Junk Journal January prompt number 6, which is memory. This is the Junk Journal January comes from Meg Journals. I'll put a link or something to her below. It's in conjunction with Get Messy, but you don't have to be a member of Get Messy to play along. It's kind of just an open play along, get inspired for the new year thing. Meg's been doing it for a few years. And I just recently discovered it maybe last year, and yeah, decided this would be a great way to get the year started. So I am, instead of creating a new journal just for January, I'm trying to finish up some other junk journals that I have in my stash. So this is one. And you can see that page started, I don't even know what the paper underneath was, but it's got sewing pattern paper on top, and then some I don't know, some kind of darkened coloring. It's a really neat page. So I started there, and when it came to the idea of memory, I turned to some old photos. At first, I was going to use yearbook photos, but I found a folder full of photocopies, and this was one of them, this group of ladies, and I decided to try an image transfer on here. So you saw I added a little bit of gesso with the palette knife on there just to kind of get started, get a little bit of interest on that page, and then I coated my photo with some matte gel medium and then stuck it, and I did that over the front of that photocopy and then have stuck it down in the journal, and I'm kind of just rubbing the back of it. I walked away and let it dry, did a little heat dry, and now I've got some water, and I'm using warm water, but it doesn't really matter, and I'm rubbing the paper off. Now this is the okay, so when I applied my matte gel medium, I should have, first off, probably been a little more consistent in how I laid it out, like make sure it was the layer was consistently applied. And secondly, I should have been a little more patient in letting this dry, because I don't know. This isn't the best transfer. And I have to also say, I don't know where I copied this from. If I did this on my printer, which has toner in it, or if I did it on somebody else's, if it was something in Happy Mail somebody sent me, I don't know where this photo came from. So any number of things are going to make this not be the best image transfer. So also because that surface that I put it on was a little bumpy and textured, that also could have affected it. But you can see I've already peeled up like some of these ladies' faces. But I've got that first layer of paper off the back. I dried it. You can see it clouded right back up. So I'm coming back in, and I am going to flip-flop between drying this and peeling that paper up as best I can. And I'm doing my best not to be too rough with it so I don't peel up more of the actual image, but it's going to happen. It's going to get hazy. I'm going to peel up bits that I don't mean to, and it's okay. In the end, that's what inspires a lot of this, well, not inspires a lot of this page. That's the direction that I end up taking with this page. I really like this page. So, you know, I tried something different than I normally would. I was inspired by just little bits and pieces of it and really played. Now, this video is only 13 minutes long, but because some of the things I add to this and do this, like waiting for that to dry, and I'll add some crackle paste here later. Oh, here I'm going to add, this is the Tim Holtz Ranger crackle paste, and I'll use that same palette knife I did with the gesso and put it in random places around on the page. Yeah. Now, because this needs to also air dry, yeah, so that's, again, this took longer than these 13 minutes indicate. I've also sped this up. So yeah, Junk Journal January is a daily thing, and I think Meg even says it one of her things. You don't have to do every day. If the prompts inspire you, use those. I'm trying to do it every day because I want to incorporate a daily art practice, and I thought one with prompts might be like really beneficial to me. So that's how I'm starting. All right, so I let that dry. I'm coming back in with more of that matte gel medium, and you can see how cloudy my image has gotten. So I thought maybe putting some of the matte gel on it would help like make it wet and keep it from clouding up more, but I probably should have used a gloss gel or something like that, or some other kind of sealer rather than a matte one. So I think that kind of, yeah. And then I've got my Tim Holtz Distress crayons, and I'm trying to find colors I like and whatever. And this is Cracked Pistachio, and I'm going to rub it generally around where I put some of the crackle paste and it's dried. And then this, I believe, is Walnut Stain. And again, I'm putting it just kind of in different areas. Again, I'm going to use it to pick up some of the crackle to add a little bit of color to the page. And then using a wet paintbrush, I'm activating that Distress crayon because it is a water-soluble crayon, as most of the Distress products are. So, and that's part of the reason I love them. So I'm doing the brown areas first for some reason. I don't know. And then activating that Cracked Pistachio a little bit, getting it into some of the crackle in some places. And yeah, I can see I'm picking up bits of the crackle too. I did use my finger to soften some of the edges. And what do I do from here? I've decided I really wasn't liking the straight line that I was getting at the bottom and the top of that image. So I was trying to figure out some ways to, I don't know, make it less definitive to distract you from it being there. And then I grabbed my Distress Oxide spray in Cracked Pistachio, sprayed that little spot there and was like, oh, too much. So I spread it out, you can see with my wet paintbrush again. And then I'll take the tip from it and put it exactly where I want it in a couple spots. And then I will splatter it across the image, or across the page, and it gets on the image. And it really helped bring that color around on the page and make it, you know, more cohesive of a color on that page. So now I've got a blending stump, y'all, and this is something I've seen Tiffany Goff Smith do years and years and years ago. If you've got a little bit of charcoal on the end of your blending stump and put it across crackle paste, it will help make those lines of the crackle stand out a little bit more. So that's all I was doing. I didn't even need my charcoal pencil because I already had charcoal on the tip of that blending stump. All right, so I have pulled out, this is a flour sack towel, I believe, that's been coffee dyed. And you saw I tore down a strip thinking, okay, I'm going to use that in some way. I don't know. And yeah, so that was a Stabilo oil pencil, and I was trying to get, you see how the dark I had at the bottom of that image? I wanted it across the top of the image too. So there was that, the page had it on there, that little bit of dark smudge at the bottom. I wanted some kind of dark smudge across the top. So I'm using my Stabilo oil pencil and some water, both with a paintbrush and in a spray, to let it kind of do its thing. I'm picking up some of the excess water with a paper towel and just letting that blend out kind of naturally and dry. There was a lot of drying in this. This was, like I said, a really long process. I've cut out a lot of it for you. Some of my splatter had gone away in that process, so I brought it back in and then dried again. Now here is that piece of lace again. I think that lace is also either rust or coffee dyed in some way. Maybe. And I was playing with it because I really liked the texture that it brought to this page. So what I ended up doing was not something I expected to be doing. I'm just playing with this, really. All right, I decided I needed something more like definitively dark on here. So I grabbed my Sharpie water-based paint pen and made like a plus sign, but then wanted it to be kind of drippy. So I used a fine tip paintbrush to add some water to it. And that's all I'm doing, is adding a bit of water to it while that is still wet. And then, like, you can see, banging my page like that to get it to drip down. And again, I'll use a paper towel to pick up some of that excess water. And I think I smudged one of them. So I'm coming back in to do another one. And my favorite part of this is going to be here in a second, where I use the paper towel to get up some of it, to blot it, and it kind of just leaves like almost the outline of it. So you see I'm picking it up where it's running over the image, and it kind of leaves just a shadow of it. And I add a little more water, and then I just blot the whole thing. And y'all, there's something special about that right there. I'm going to be doing that more. And I decided it needed a little bit dark over on the other side, so I'm going to just do one of these. Again, bang it down and let it drip, and give it a second, and lightly pick up some of that excess. I loved that. So now I'm going to trim it down, that lace. Instead of using that whole piece like I thought I was, I thought, okay, I'm going to put that down. Oh, and maybe I'll use some of this. And I went away and used on my typewriter, typed up the phrase, "My memory's a bit hazy." Which, because that image went all hazy and everything else on there is a little bit blurry and odd, I thought, oh, that's perfect. And y'all, honestly, my memory is a bit hazy. I have the worst memory sometimes. So I grabbed my Distress ink in, not walnut, black soot. And I'm just inking up the edges of that typed up piece and put it down on top of that bit of lace, trying to figure out how I want to work in the fabric. So I'm going to trim it down to go behind the lace. Again, this is all just for some texture and drawing the eye. I had a hard time tearing that fabric in that direction. Like the other direction was fine, and this one, but in my pulling and all that gave it more fraying and texture in the end, so that's fine. I'm going to use my matte gel medium to stack these things together. I'm really just going to open it, put some on my finger, and stack those things. Oh, maybe I didn't use my finger. Maybe I used my palette knife. Making sure everything is dry on there, because I didn't want that getting on the fabric. That Distress ink tends to take a long time to dry. Once I get this little stack down and done, that's it for this page, y'all. I love it. I know I've put it on Instagram, and it's gotten quite a bit of love too. If you have any questions or tips or comments or anything, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. If you do like this, give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and I will be back. I think I'm probably going to share at least day 7 with y'all of this, because I liked it too. We'll see. Thanks y'all so much for watching. I'll see y'all later. Bye.